Hello students, welcome to ninth lecture of chemical bonding and molecular structure. In previous lecture we discussed about valence-shell electron pair repulsion theory and we saw some structures, and the main difference between two structures were either molecule contains all of the bond pairs or combination of bond pairs and lone pairs. That means with the central atom, around it we have some bond pairs which is used in bond formation or which is shared between two atoms present in molecule, or we have some lone pairs which belongs to central atom only. So we observe that if all of them are bond pair, then arrangement of electron pair and shape of molecule will be same. That means if you have 4 electron pairs, then these 4 electron pair will be arranged tetrahedrally. If all of them are bond pairs, then shape of molecule is also bond pair. But if all of them are not bond pair and some of them are lone pairs, then arrangement of electron pairs around the central atom will be tetrahedral, but shape of molecule will be either pyramidal, triangular pyramidal, or angular, like water molecule. And in table 4.8, explanation regarding to it is mentioned, and we already observe these structures in 3 dimension so that we can reduce our confusions. But still, if you find any difficulty regarding to these shapes and why these type of shape, depending on the type of the electron pair, gives different type of molecular shape, feel free to ask, we can discuss it again. So now let us move on our next point, which is valence bond theory. Okay, we already observed Cossel-Lewis approach, then we discussed about valence shell electron pair repulsion theory, and now we are moving towards the valence bond theory. In previous theory, we can identify the structure of molecules depending on the type of electron pairs present around the central atom, but still that theory has some limitations. And to complete or to understand properly other aspects of molecule, we have to develop a new theory, and it is already developed, which is called valence bond theory. So now let us see what are the limitations which lead us to develop valence bond theory. So as we know that Lewis approach helps in writing the structure of molecule, but it fails to explain the formation of chemical bond. It also does not give any reason for difference in bond dissociation enthalpies and bond lengths in molecule like H2, and enthalpy of H2 is 435.8 kilojoules per mole. That means you need to apply 435.8 kilojoules of energy to break bonds in 1 mole of hydrogen gas, and bond length is 74 pm. Whereas in F2, enthalpy is 150.6. that means you need to apply 150 kilojoules of energy to break bonds between two fluorine atoms in 1 mole of F2 gas. So although hydrogen and fluorine, both of them contain single bond, but requirement of energy for the breaking bond is largely different. Okay, so as we can see, we have almost nearly 300 kilojoules of difference in their enthalpies, whereas length of F2 is even smaller than H2. As we can see, bond length of H2 is 74 pm, whereas bond length of F2 is 42 pm. And as mentioned earlier in bond parameters, if bond length increases, strength of bond decreases. On that logic, bond of H2 should be weaker than F2 because it is longer. But still, enthalpy, dissociation enthalpy says different thing. Bond of H2 is more stable than bond of F2. That's why it requires more energy to break. So although in both cases a single covalent bond is formed by the sharing of an electron pair between the respective atoms, and it also gives no idea about the shape of polyatomic molecules. Now similarly, the VSREP theory gives the geometry of simple molecules, but theoretically it does not explain them, and also it has limited applications. To overcome these limitations, the two improvement theories based on quantum mechanical principles are introduced. These are valence bond theory and molecular orbital theory. In short, we will call it VB theory and MO theory. Valence bond theory was introduced by Hitler in London and developed further by Pauling and others. A discussion of valence bond theory is based on knowledge of atomic orbitals, electrical configuration of elements, the overlap criteria of atomic orbitals, the hybridization of atomic orbitals, and the principle of variation and superposition. A rigorous treatment of VB theory in term of this aspect is beyond the scope of this book. That means we are not going to discuss all of the points mentioned here, but we will try to understand VB theory in basic detail. So therefore, the sake of convenience, valence bond theory has been discussed in term of qualitative and non-mathematical treatment only. To start with, let us consider the formation of hydrogen molecule with its simplest of all molecule. Okay, so we are going to use simplest molecule and we are going to ignore all of the mathematical interactions in this so that we can easily explain and understand VB theory. Consider two hydrogen atoms A and B approaching each other having nuclei N1 and NAN and B, and electrons present in them are represented by EA and EB. Okay, so N represents nucleus, E represents electrons of each atom. When the two atoms are at large distance from each other, there is no interaction between them. As mentioned earlier, attractive or repulsive forces are indirectly proportional with distance. If distance increases, then attractive and repulsive forces decreases, and if distance is sufficient high, then no attractive or repulsive forces will be felt on each other. So similar situation is mentioned here. We have two different atoms, atom A and atom B. Both of them are hydrogen atoms. Both of them contains nucleus and electron. In nucleus of hydrogen, we know that we have only proton, and one proton and one electron makes hydrogen atom. Now if we decrease the distance between two hydrogen atoms, then new attractive and repulsive forces will be produced, because as the distance decreases, attraction and repulsion increases. So we are forcing hydrogen atoms to come close to each other. That's why different type of attractive and repulsive forces will be produced. Now first of all, attractive forces arises between, as we know, opposite charges or unlike charges attracts each other. That means each nucleus will attract electrons. So first of all, we can consider attraction produced between electron and nucleus of same molecules or atoms. So we can say that first atom of hydrogen attracts its own electron towards the nucleus. Similarly, electron and nucleus of second hydrogen will attract each other. So that means Na attracts Ea, Nb attracts Eb. And the same type of attraction will be produced between opposite electron and nucleus. That means nucleus of first hydrogen will attract electron of second hydrogen, and similarly nucleus of second hydrogen will attract electron of first hydrogen. So Na attracts Eb and Nb attracts Ea. So these are attractive forces. Similarly, repulsive forces also produces between two different atoms. So like charges will repel each other. That means electrons will repel electrons. So electron of first atom and electron of second atom will feel repulsion. So Ea repels Eb. Similarly, nucleus contains positive charge, so they also repels each other. So nucleus of first atom will repel nucleus of second atom. So Na repels Nb. So these are attractive and repulsive forces produced when we place two different atoms close to each other. Now attractive forces tend to bring two atoms close to each other, whereas repulsive forces tend to push them apart. We can see this from this figure. So in this figure, dotted line represents old forces and solid line represents new forces. That means initially electrons of second and nucleus of first, both of them were attracting each other. Similarly, these two, that means this is the nucleus, or we can say hydrogen, and it is electron. So they are attracting each other. These are old attraction sites, and these are new attraction sites. That means nucleus of second hydrogen attracts electron of first hydrogen. Similarly, nucleus of first hydrogen now attracts electron of second hydrogen. So let us say these are the two different hydrogen 1 and hydrogen 2. So old attractions were between these two, that means electrons and the nucleus of same atom. Similarly, Nb will attract Ea, that means electron and nucleus of same atom. And repulsive forces, when we place these atoms close together, then repulsive forces will arise between the nucleus of each atom and electrons of each atom. So red line represents old attractions, green lines represents new repulsions. And now let us talk about the new attractions. So new attraction arises between the nucleus of first and electron of second and electron of first and nucleus of second atom. Okay, so red line represents old attractions, yellow line represents new attractions, and green line represents new repulsion. Now in this structure, all attractive forces will try to decrease the distance. That means if two different particles are attracting each other, then they will approach close to each other, and repulsive forces will separate them out. That means repulsive forces feeling particles move away from each other. So let us identify which of these particles will feel attraction and which of these particles will feel repulsion. So these two will feel repulsion, that means Ea and Eb, and these two will feel repulsion as well, Ha and Hb. So they will move away from each other, but at the same time these two feel attraction, that means they will try to come close to each other, and similarly these two also feels attraction. So again they will try to approach each other, or they will try to come close to each other. And that's why this type of situation arises. So as we can see, due to the repulsive forces, you can see some difference being observed. So repulsive forces will arise between Ha and Hb and Ea and Eb. So they will try to move away from each other. That's why arrows are showing moving apart from each other. Experimentally, it has been found that the magnitude of new attractive force is more than the new repulsive force. As a result, two atoms approach each other and the potential energy decreases. If energy is decreasing, that means stability is increasing. So that means this situation represents these atoms are stabilizing. Ultimately, a stage is reached where the net force of attraction balances the force of repulsion and system acquires minimum energy. Is at this stage, two hydrogen atoms are said to be bonded together to form stable molecule having the bond length of 74 pm. That means a perfect balanced distance where all the repulsive forces are minimum and all the attractive forces are maximum. At that time energy will be minimum, and it is called bond formation. Since the energy gets released when the bond is formed between two hydrogen atoms, the hydrogen molecule is more stable than that of the isolated hydrogen atoms. That means energy of two separate hydrogen atoms are greater than energy of one H2 molecule. The energy released is called bond enthalpy, which is corresponding to the minimum in the curve depicted in figure 4.8. Conversely, 435.8 kilojoules of energy is required to dissociate 1 mole of H2 molecule, and same is true for the formation of H2 molecule. When two different hydrogen atoms combines with each other to produce H2 gas, it will release 435.8 kilojoules of energy. Here a graph is mentioned which represents different type of energies at different type of distance. So on y-axis we have energy, and on x-axis we have bond length or internuclear distance between two atoms. So as you can see, when these type of overlapping occurs, that means hydrogen atom of first and hydrogen atom of second, both of them are overlapped. They have some common portion. Actually, sphere mentioned here are not solid rigid spheres. That means suppose you have a metal ball, then this situation is not like that solid metal ball. Actually, they are one type of cloud. This spherical representation indicates we have a cloud or probability of finding electron around this spherical shape. Okay, so it is not solid rigid shape. That means they can overlap. Assume it like a cloud of gas. Suppose you have two different gases or two different clouds of gases. When we try to mix those gases, they do not separate out with boundary lines, but they will diffuse in each other or they will mix with each other. So similar type of situation is present here. All of these spheres are actually a cloud of electron, or probability of electron is comparatively high in that region, so that they can overlap. So when these type of overlapping occurs, at that time, as we can see, energy will be minimum. But if you try to decrease the distance as you move left side on y-axis, we are actually decreasing, or we are squeezing two different atoms into each other. So suppose at this point situation is something like this. One atom is, let us say, 20% mixed with second atom. At that time energy is minimum, and as you move from right to left, we are even squeezing them closer to each other. Let us say in this situation 40% overlapping is occurred. That means energy will drastically increase, because as we squeeze two different atoms closer to each other, we are actually increasing repulsive forces because we are decreasing the distance. That's why repulsive forces increases between electron and nucleus. So energy is increasing. That's why it do not create stable molecule. So perfectly balanced situation is here. At this point energy will be minimum. It indicates most stable state. But again, if you try to increase distance more than this point, then energy again will start increasing. At a certain point, it will reach to the distance of separation. That means now two different atoms of hydrogen are separated from each other, and now they do not feel attraction or repulsion towards each other. Okay, so no attractive repulsive forces are produced after this point. So energy will be stabilized. No energy change after this point will be observed, which indicates both of the atom present in H2 molecule are now separated. That means they are now separate hydrogen atoms. Now let us discuss how these type of orbital overlapping occurs. So next point, the orbital overlap concept. In the formation of hydrogen molecule, there is a minimum energy state where two hydrogen atoms are so near that their atomic orbitals undergo partial interpenetration. That means they are mixed with each other up to some extent. Partial, that means they are not completely mixed with each other. Some portion of those orbitals are mixed, or they are penetrated into each other. This partial merging of atomic orbital is called overlapping of atomic orbital, which results in the pairing of electrons. Okay, so we are actually observing pairing of electron. Now keep in mind, pairing of electron doesn't mean electrons are staying between two different atoms. Now suppose we have two different hydrogens and their electrons mentioned on the orbitals. Now when these two hydrogen combines with each other, we represent that bond like this: hydrogen with dash or line with other hydrogen. Now in actual molecule, these type of stick or thread or lines are not present. This is just representation of bonding. Actual bonding will be something like this. Suppose we have spherical atoms. Okay, so these spherical atoms will come in contact with each other like this, or they will overlap as mentioned entropic like this. Okay, so that means these orbitals are now in contact with each other, and electrons won't stay between these two atoms like this. That means one electron is present here, second electron is present here. No, these type of situation do not occur. All of these are representation. Actually, when bond is formed between two different atoms like this, electron will spend time in each of the atoms step by step. That means suppose we have electron of first hydrogen here, then it will revolve around the first hydrogen, then it will enter in the orbital of second hydrogen, then again it will come in orbital of first hydrogen. These type of revolution or step by step, it will enter in the orbital of first hydrogen and second hydrogen continuously. Similarly, electron of second hydrogen also spends some time in second hydrogen, then it will enter in first hydrogen, then again it will enter in second hydrogen. These type of revolution will occur with both of the electrons. So actual bond formation occurs like this. Electrons will spend time in both of the atoms. And in case of polar molecule like this, electrons will spend more time in negative element than the positive element. That means suppose we assume like this. Suppose this is the first element, that means hydrogen, this is for chlorine. Okay, so one electron will be provided from hydrogen, one will be provided from chlorine in bond formation. So let us assume first electron of hydrogen as well as electron of chlorine. Both of them, when rotating around the two different nucleus, spends less time in hydrogen and spends more time in chlorine. Let us say electron spends 1 second in hydrogen whereas 1.5 second in chlorine, because chlorine is more electronegative, so it will attract electrons strongly. So that's why electron spends more time in chlorine than the hydrogen. So rotation of electron of hydrogen will be like this. Suppose it starts rotating in hydrogen from this point. So after 1 second it will enter in the orbital of chlorine, and then in chlorine it will spend 1.5 second. Then again it will enter in hydrogen. Again it will spend 1 second, then 1.5 second in chlorine. Similar situation will be observed for chlorine's electron. Chlorine's electron will spend 1.5 second in chlorine, then it will spend 1 second in hydrogen. That means when the first second is complete, at that time we can say that both of them contains one electron. Okay, suppose this is a situation of hydrogen and this is situation of chlorine, and here we have time. So first second after the bond formation, at that time both of them contains one electron. So we can say that hydrogen contains 1 electron, chlorine contains 1 electron. But on the second what happened? Electron of hydrogen will spend only half second inside it, and other half second will be spent inside the chlorine. That means let us say at that time 0.5 second will be spent inside the hydrogen, and in case of chlorine it will have 1.5 electron. On third second completely we can say that electron of hydrogen do not spend any time in it, and at that time chlorine has 2 electron for 1 second whole. Okay, and so on. So as we can see, electron spends less time in hydrogen and it spends more time in the orbital of chlorine. That's why at certain situation both of them contains similar number of electrons. So at that time hydrogen is neutral and the chlorine is also neutral. But at certain case chlorine contains more electron than hydrogen. At that time hydrogen will carry positive charge, chlorine will carry negative charge. Okay, so sometimes chlorine is neutral and sometimes it is negative. Similarly, sometimes hydrogen is positive and sometimes it is neutral. That's why we say that they carries partial charges. They are not permanent negative or permanent positive. So that's how bonds occurs. But for simplicity, we represent them like this, and we say that if bond is polar, then electron pairs are closer to negative element. Actually, they are not closer to it, but they spend more time in it. Now, extent of overlappings of this type of orbital decides the strength of covalent bond. In general, greater the overlapping, stronger is the bond formed between two atoms. Therefore, according to the orbital overlap concept, the formation of covalent bond between two atomic orbitals or atoms results by pairing of electron present in the valence shell having opposite spin. So keep in mind, all the electrons which pairs with each other must have opposite spin. If they are spinning in same direction, then we cannot pair them. If they are spinning in opposite direction, that means spin quantum number of each electron should be opposite if they are paired with each other. Now next topic will be discussed in next lecture. If you find any difficulty regarding to these points, feel free to ask.